how do we even begin to talk about grief? When the words just aren't there? Well, Nobel Prize winner Luigi Pirandello's incredible short story, War, dives headfirst into that very question. It's a fascinating look at the strange and sometimes even brutal ways we try to make sense of the unthinkable.
So, the story kicks off right here. Picture this. A stuffy, smoky train carriage, super early in the morning. You can almost feel how cramped it is, right? It's filled with strangers who've been stuck together all night, and the tension is, well, it's thick. This isn't just a setting. It's basically a pressure cooker, just waiting for everything to explode. And right into this tense scene, a new couple gets on the train. The wife is described as this shapeless bundle, just completely lost in her mourning. Her husband is small, and you can tell he's just buzzing with anxiety. Their grief is so heavy you can almost touch it, and it immediately fills the entire carriage. The husband, he feels like he has to explain. He has to break the silence. So he tells the other passengers their story. Their only son, their whole world, has just been called to the front. They just found out he's leaving in 3 days. And by doing this, he takes their private agony and makes it a public discussion, inviting everyone else into their pain.
But here's where things get really weird. Instead of just offering a kind word or some sympathy, the other passengers react by turning grief into a competition. Yeah, it stops being about sharing sorrow and starts being about who has it worse. The very first response isn't, "Oh, I'm so sorry." Nope, it's an instant comparison. This guy tries to make the couple's pain seem smaller by talking about how long he's been suffering. He's actually framing their fresh, raw grief as some kind of luck. And just like that, another passenger jumps in and escalates the whole thing. He turns it into a numbers game. He's basically saying his pain must be greater because he has 5 loved ones at risk, not just 1. And now this bizarre debate is in full swing. So the whole argument really boils down to this. What's worse? The husband says losing an only son means you've lost everything. But the other man fires back that having a surviving son is its own terrible burden. You have a duty to keep on living for him, while the father of an only son is tragically free to just die with his grief. This is just a perfect example of the chilling, abstract logic they've all fallen into. I mean, think about it. One guy is seriously arguing that his own situation is worse because he doesn't have the luxury of just giving up on life. It is a shocking, shocking way to intellectualize human suffering. Just as this debate is hitting its most intense point, a new voice cuts through all the noise. It's this fat, red-faced man who's been sitting there listening the whole time, and he is about to drop a philosophy bomb that will completely change the entire conversation. He starts with one word: nonsense. And with that, he just dismisses their whole competition of grief. He completely reframes their sorrow as a form of selfishness, pretty much telling them they're all looking at this the wrong way. He then builds this, bulletproof argument, laying out his stoic, patriotic philosophy step by step. He says our kids don't really belong to us, they belong to the country. That dying a hero is a gift that saves them from growing old and bitter. And his chilling conclusion? Their sacrifice is something to celebrate, not to mourn. He even declares that his own son died a hero, and for that, he's grateful. He points out he's not even wearing mourning clothes. But Pirandello gives us this tiny, crucial clue that something's off. The man's lip is trembling and his eyes are watery. His big speech might just be a sob in disguise. But the man's powerful speech, the one that was supposed to silence all the grief, has a totally unexpected effect. It seems to wake up the one person who has been completely silent this whole time, the mother. For all this time, she's felt completely alone, thinking no one could possibly understand what she's going through. But listening to this man, she's just stunned. She can't believe there are parents out there who seem to have accepted not just their sons leaving, but their deaths, with this kind of steely resolve. So after all the complicated arguments, all the philosophy and patriotism, she finally speaks. And her question? It is so simple, almost childlike, and it just cuts through everything that has been said before. That single, simple human question just bypasses all of the man's intellectual armor. It's like a wrecking ball to his carefully built arguments. All of a sudden, this isn't about philosophy anymore. It's about a dead son. The man just stares at her. And Pirandello writes that it's as if only in that moment the reality of his loss actually hits him.
The words gone forever, forever, are repeated, just hammering home the finality that his whole philosophy was built to hide. The physical change is instant, and it's total. The Stoic philosopher of patriotic sacrifice just falls apart. His carefully constructed mask doesn't just slip, it completely shatters into a million pieces. And that's where the story ends. His grand philosophy is washed away in a flood of pure, raw, uncontrollable grief. It reveals that his entire argument was nothing more than a desperate shield against a pain that was just too big to face head-on. So Pirandello leaves us with that incredibly powerful image and this lingering question. The story seems to suggest that we can build these huge, elaborate systems of logic and philosophy to cope with loss. But sooner or later, a simple human truth is going to come along and shatter them all, leaving only the raw, undeniable reality of grief.